And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the HackSmarter Twitch channel. My name is Tyler, and I get to be your host this evening. And we are going to do some hacking together. Specifically, we're going to dive into some TryHackMe challenge rooms that I have yet to do. So as usual, if this is one of your first times watching my stream, or maybe you're watching the recording on YouTube, the way I do things might be a little bit different than some other content creators. I do not prep the machines ahead of time. So what you see me do is me working through it live, sharing my thought process, sharing my many frustrations, sharing my silly mistakes, but seeing the whole process live. And I think in many ways that's more helpful for learning, because often when it comes to a machine, you'll see someone like solve it in 10 minutes, but it really took them 30 hours. And you're like, how the heck did you come to that conclusion, that conclusion, that conclusion? And so that's the purpose of these streams and this recordings, is for us to work through this together live in real time, struggle, troubleshoot, and grow in our skills together. So that's what's going on. If that interests you, hang around. Let's do this together. And special welcome to those of you on Twitch. On Twitch, Adam had a question. Look at my Twitch chat pulled up. So I know those of you on YouTube didn't see the chat ahead of time, but Adam asked this question. He said, not relevant to the stream, but anyone have any resources for learning the absolute basics for cloud exploitation quickly? I'm thinking simple IAM issues and misconfigured S3 bucket. So just to clarify the terms, when you say cloud exploitation, based on what you follow with, I believe you're talking about AWS specifically, not just general cloud stuff. There are quite a few different resources. I actually want to share a few of these with you. I will share my screen. Here we go. I'm on the attack box today. And actually on my other screen, I'm going to grab some TryHackMe rooms that I've made. These are private TryHackMe rooms because they require you setting up your own environment. But I actually created two TryHackMe rooms. The first one guides you step by step on creating your own AWS pen testing lab, so you can begin learning AWS pen testing. And the one after that is exploiting a very common misconfiguration with EC2s, which are Amazon VMs, in order to do SSRF. So here, over in the chat, is the intro to Cloud Goat room. And let me grab this EC SSRF one. And real quickly before we dive into things, you don't have to do all of Cloud Goat, but you specifically said S3 buckets and IAM issues. I want to show you a few Cloud Goat scenarios that I think would be helpful. When you look at both of those rooms, this whole idea of Cloud Goat will make a lot more sense. So I'm not going to explain all the terms right now, but once you go through those rooms, everything I'm saying will not sound like a foreign language to you. Let me go to the Cloud Goat GitHub, which is developed by the greatest pen testing firm on planet Earth, which is Rhino Security Labs. It's where I work. But here's Cloud Goat, and here's the whole idea behind it. It's a vulnerable by design AWS deployment tool, allows you to complete CTF style scenarios, all for learning the things that you're talking about. So what I would encourage you to do is do some of these small and easy challenges, like IAM Privest by key rotation is a brand new one, IAM Privest by rollback. We have Cloud Breach S3 is going to deal with S3 buckets. A lot of these are going to deal with them. And in addition to that, if you go to my YouTube channel, let me drop it over in the chat. If you haven't subscribed to me on YouTube, I have an entire playlist on AWS pen testing, and in my YouTube channel, I actually covered every single room in TryHackMe's AWS pen testing pathway that I had very limited access to. Most people don't have access to it. They gave me access for 1 month to stream it. So I streamed that entire pathway. So you can even jump around there. If you're looking at S3 buckets, I did the entire TryHackMe official room on exploiting S3 buckets, and it's all available on my YouTube channel for free. So Adam, hopefully that helps you out. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out, but hopefully that gives you a good starting point. All right, we'll put AWS aside. Anytime I get a chance to talk about AWS and Cloud Goat, I am going to take that opportunity. But let me share with you guys what we are working on today. Just going to turn my light. I need to adjust my light. It's too bright in my eyes. Hold up. There we go. Hopefully you guys still see me. It's probably a little bit darker, but hackers work in the dark, so you'll just have to get over it. What we are going to do, basically what I've done is I try to stay caught up on the TryHackMe rooms, specifically the challenge or CTF rooms. And so last week and now this week, I just went to the most recent rooms and I looked at the challenge rooms that I have not completed myself because I want to complete them. And this is one of the most recent challenge rooms I have not done. I think it's a web challenge, if I remember right from the description. And it says it's easy. So we'll see if it's actually easy, but it's called Lessons Learned. Let me see if you can join me Yeah, so look at this. This is a free room. Oh, and it's created by Tiberius. Very cool. So shout out to Tiberius. It's awesome. So we know it's going to be good if it's created by Tiberius. And it's a free room. So guys, you can actually join me in this room as we work through it live. Let me drop this link over in the chat. Feel free to get your machine booted up and we'll work through this together. And we'll see if we can solve Tiberius's challenge. I'm going to try to treat it more like a real assessment. So I'll try to point out things to you that I would point out on a web app assessment, and we'll learn that way. The first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and grab the IP address. And we'll go over, I'm using the attack box just to make it more accessible for everyone. And I'm actually going to install Cato. But before I install Cato, let me get my terminal pulled up. There's that general attack box thing. We'll get this pulled up, sudo nano etc hosts. And we'll drop the IP in there. I'm just going to call it lessons.thm. And if we ping lessons.thm, cat etc hosts. Oh, lesson. I did lesson. Okay, whatever. That works. There we go. Okay, so we got it pinged. Perfect. And let's go ahead and get Cato installed. If you've never heard of Cato, it is sort of like Burp Suite Community Edition, but it doesn't rate limit you, and it's written from the ground up in Rust. I've really been enjoying Cato, but it doesn't come pre-installed on the attack box. So for those of you who might be new to Cato, here's kind of a step-by-step process on how to install Cato. The first thing we're going to do is a login. You do have to create an account to use Cato. And just going to briefly stop sharing my screen while I log into my Cato instance. There's really nothing sensitive on there, like even if you try to compromise it. And I'll go back to sharing my screen. So if you're installing Cato for the first time, yo, it's Alex, sweet. Watch TCM as I explore Cato and demonstrate its features in action. Yeah, that's so cool. If you are doing it on Linux, which I'm sure most of you are, there's desktop apps, but I noticed the CLI works a little bit better. So we're going to download the CLI right here. We're just going to click Linux. And you can see we're getting it downloaded. Everything is good. And we'll go back to our terminal. If it would open. Come on, terminal. There we go. Oh, maybe it just downloads to the main folder. There we go. So we'll do tar xf Cato. We'll echo our path. And we can do it anywhere in our path. We should have that Cato binary now. So we'll do sudo move Cato, and we'll do user local bin. Okay, cool. And now we're going to make a directory for lesson learned. CD into that. And I'm going to go ahead and try to launch Cato. We'll see if it works. Beautiful, it does. Okay, we're going to log into our Cato instance. And we'll give our instance name TryHackMe. Register. Perfect. Feel free to email me if you want. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get Cato set up, and then we'll be ready to start the challenge. So it guides you through the setup. It's going to give you some information about projects. I'm going to skip through this, but if it's your first time using Cato, feel free to slow down and read through this. I'm going to go to project, and we will, create a project. Lesson learned. Okay, we created our first project. Switching projects, blah, blah. And we'll go to our CA certificate page, sort of like Burp Suite. We will go ahead and download the CA certificate. Then we will go to Firefox, Settings, Cert, View Certificates, Import, and we'll import our Cato certificate. Trust, okay, okay. Boom, and we are done. Now, a few cool things about Cato I'll just draw your attention to. Intercept is kind of like Proxy and Burp Suite. It has many of those features. Automate is like Burp Suite Intruder, but if you use Burp Suite Community Edition, you know that Intruder is very much rate limited. Automate is not rate limited at all, not even on the free version. If you do upgrade to the Pro version, if you're a student, you can get the Pro version for free. If you're not a student, it's less than $100 a year. ChatGPT is built into it, but like a web app version of it. So if we say, hello, robot friend, he'll say, hello, how can I assist you today with your web application security testing needs? So kind of geared towards it and a little less strict depending on the security questions that you ask it. So we have Cato pulled up. We are in a good part. Let's open a new tab. I'm just going to change this to Cato because I like to keep my tabs organized. And here we go. We'll just change this to terminal. And what I'm going to do, well, we can make this big, I guess. The only thing I don't like, guys, about the attack box is I can't snap. I can't snap things to sides of the screen. It just doesn't work very well. So I think if I do this right here, no, I don't want you to be big screen. This is the only downside when I'm not using my own machine. Come on. See, now I can't even grab the side of it. Come on. All right, we'll see. I might switch to my own machine. Oh, jeez. I almost had it. Did you guys see that? Oh, it just goes away there. All right, we'll just push it like that. And we'll open up another Firefox window. Yeah, right there will be fine. Got it. Okay, and one final thing. I'm just going to share my face for just a moment while I pull up OneNote. I've been watching your capstone playlist on YouTube. Awesome, man. I hope you enjoy it. That was a really fun challenge to go through. Okay, I just have my notes open. I was working on some of the active machines on Hack the Box, so I just don't want to give away any spoilers on the Hack the Box side of things. All right, let me go ahead and do main screen. You already need to reset your machine? Dude, don't break stuff. Dude, VulnLab? I'll have to check out VulnLab. So that's different than VulnHub, right? I remember doing VulnHub, which is like the local VMs you download. We'll check out VulnLab once I get these notes set up. So we'll start a new note thing for lesson learned. And now that Overgrown Carrot has my curiosity peaked. +60 vulnerable machines. Oh, even has custom hiring challenges. Okay, and only $10 a month. That's super affordable. What are Red Team Labs? So these are the machines. So, whoops. Are chains, Overgrown Carrot, are chains sort of like networks, I take it? Like more than one machine? Same with labs. The Red Team Labs are mixed, so that must be like Linux and Windows all put together. You start the boxes through Discord. You can download VPN, move to Cali, start hacking. Red Team Labs are machines that have like 3 or more machines in it with domains, and yes, chains or networks. Cool, dude. I'll check these out. Thanks for sharing. Do they have any restrictions on streaming? Like, are they cool if I stream these machines, or is that like frowned upon? Kind of like Hack the Box. You know, they don't want you to stream active machines, so I don't. Nope, stream all you want. Cool. I'll for sure check it out then. Let's go ahead and turn our burp on. Okay, so we have a login screen. Let's go ahead and just take that down for our notes. So that is on the index. Actually, I need to do a port scan first. I'm guessing if it's a web challenge, it's just port 80 open, but hey, you never know. So we'll do that as well. I'm going to drop my notes down a little bit because I'll drop my InMap scan up there. And we'll just say, hey, at the index, we have that right there. Let me go ahead and open my terminal back up. And InMap P, let's scan all the ports, lesson.thm-v. just to see what is open. So we have SSH open, we have HTTP open. I'm guessing those are going to be the only ones, but we'll let this run in the background. We'll just call this InMap full, and open a new tab with the hotkey. Cool, I can. And we'll just scan those specific ports. We'll do InMap-P 22 and 80 -A to throw all the enumeration scripts at it, and -V. Don't know if you've ever heard of XCT. But I think he's number 3 in Hack the Box, something insane. Had a YouTube and does some awesome stuff in AD. And usually shows multiple ways to exploit first intent. Dude, that's so cool. I'll definitely check him out. Thank you for sharing. Okay, did we discover any other ports? Nope, it's probably just going to be those two. And so let's go ahead and grab this for our notes. We'll go ahead and copy. Pull up our notes here. Drop them in here. So I suppose if we get some type of credentials, then we can SSH into the machine. We'll drop SSH in here. Not going to be our initial attack path, but once again, if we do find some credentials, then we can dive back into it. We can remove some of this extra fluff. Honestly, this is all we really need for our notes. All right. So a few things that I would check right away. Let's go ahead and make our to-do list. The first thing, which this is an updated version of Apache, so we're not going to find anything, but we can always research Apache 2.4.54. This, I'm pretty sure that's an updated version of Apache. And then we will do GoBuster for directories. We'll do GoBuster for vhosts. We know that there's a login page there. We'll check the source, see if there's anything interesting in the source. We're looking for username, enumeration, like dev information, HTML comments that might lead to information, scripts, hard-coded secrets, all those kinds of things is what we're looking at. Oh, you're the one who said that? I was kind of thinking the same thing, that if one of those big 0 days comes out that affects like Linux and you're taking the OSCP that day, you have your own free root exploit. As soon as you get a user flag, you can get root. And OSCP can't really disqualify you for it. It's legit. It's a legit exploit. It's their fault for not patching it immediately in their exam environment. All right, so we have those things when we check source. We can always check, well, let's run Nikto against it because Nikto would check things like robots.txt, anything interesting there. So let's go ahead and begin going through this. Let's start running our scan. So we'll do GoBuster first, which I think is built in this machine. And let me see if I can increase the text size for you guys. It doesn't increase it for every window. It really? Okay, that's kind of lame. Is there like preferences or something? Maybe profile preferences. Let me see if this does it. Okay, that's a little too big, but cool. That increases it for all of it. That's what I was trying to do. Maybe 14. There. I think 14 is good. We have GoBuster on the attack box, right? Okay, beautiful. So we'll do GoBuster dir /u p lesson.thm, and for our word list, user share word list dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium. Is that on there? Okay, it is. Fantastic. We have a manual, which is a 300 code, which means it redirects us, but let's go ahead and do GoBuster dir for that. And we will also do GoBuster vhost u lesson.thm word list user share word list dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium. I know there's better ones like seclist and DNS stuff, but we're just going to do this to start out, see if there's anything interesting. And I can already see we need to fix this. You can see we're getting a bunch of false positives, and the way we can fix this is we can exclude it based on size. So if we do this, we can do exclude, if I can spell, I believe exclude size or exclude length. Must be exclude length. It's one of those two, isn't it? Guys, am I crazy? It's exclude length or size. It has to be. Whoa, why is it? Is this an updated version of GoBuster? I've always seen it with the dash in between there. Well, we'll just use L then. Maybe this is an updated version of GoBuster I haven't used yet. And does it not work for vhost? Does it only work for... Oh, that's include length. Wait, where's exclude length? SQL injection? Yeah, it probably is on the login screen. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's an exclude length, but I'm just going to pretend like it's something weird with the attack box. On my machine, I swear I use it. Okay, and we only have a couple of things here. Yeah, dude, I've used exclude length on vhost like 100%. Let's go ahead and zoom out here, and I'll grab this. Once again, just for good documentation. It is a login screen. It's probably going to be SQL injection, but make sure we take good notes. We'll drop this in there, and we can go ahead and start running something like SQL map once we capture a request. So the way I like to do it anyways. Yeah, dude, your version of GoBuster has it for vhost too. Yeah, it's just must be something weird with the attack box. It doesn't really matter. So one thing I check for on a login screen, at least on a real assessment, is I look for username enumeration. So if I use a valid username and an invalid username, does it give me a different response for username enumeration? Before we jump into some crazy SQL stuff, invalid username or password, I'm guessing it's going to say that no matter what. So it returns generic error messages. If we go ahead and look at the source, what do we see here in the source? We're just pulling down some style sheets. We have some basic HTML. Nothing of interest, at least in the source. And there's also that like manual page. Oh, so this is just the default version of Apache. Sometimes with the Apache versions, maybe it's not Apache. I might be thinking of a different default one where you can actually test some scripts and you can get RCE through that. I don't think you can do it through here. I'm pretty sure you can't do it through Apache. But this would be something that I would report to a client. And so we're going to grab a screenshot of that. You tell your client, hey, you don't want to have the default version of Apache open. Default Apache index is what we'll call it. We'd report that as like a low maybe, unless you could exploit it further. But generally you don't want that exposed. We can see the modules and things like that. Enumeration, but I don't think you can do RCE through the default of Apache, but hey, maybe we'll come back to it if we get stuck. Okay, back to this screen. So if we do admin and admin, and we'll go ahead and capture that. We will hit login. Did not mean to do that there. Send that to replay here. And if we click send, what do we get? We get a 200 OK message, just your basic HTML, and just invalid username or password. So if we throw in like a comma, we still get a 200, so we're not getting a 500, we're not getting a server error. We're getting invalid. Could be like something like NoSQL. Invalid username or password. Invalid username or password. Okay. So what I want to do is, might be a quick win if this works. We're going to copy our post request, go back to our terminal, nano post.text, drop our post request in there, and SQL map -r to send it the post request, and we'll see if SQL map can do some automated fuzzing. Unless, you know, someone said I had to restart the machine. We might get blocked. Is there rate limiting on here? If you try to brute force, I wonder if it rate limits you and blocks your IP. So it says, hey, these do not appear to be dynamic. Shows that post parameter username might not be injectable. That was quick. Let's increase the level. And for those of you who are new to SQL Map, what this is doing is sending a bunch of different SQL injection payloads, trying to detect, hey, is SQL injection possible? If it is, what is the database behind it? And then you can actually dump the database and everything directly with SQL Map. So some of that manual SQL injection, it automates it. But for those of you studying for stuff like the OSCP, I don't believe this is allowed on the OSCP. If my memory serves me correct, you have to manually exploit SQL injection if you come across it. So don't get too reliant on it. But hey, when you don't have the OSCP, then you can rely on it. But it doesn't appear to be injectable, at least SQL injection, but we could always look at something like no SQL injection. As we don't know how the back end is being built. We have no other ports that are found. And actually, while we do this, let's run Nikto against it as well. This is actually something I would test for a client. I would do a very quick POC for clickjacking. We have that web server manual fault, directory indexing found. So maybe it, maybe it is something with that. Let's find out. Oh, I suppose we can stop intercepting this. Oops, did not mean to do that. So we have all these images. Not going to be helpful for us, though. We have that manual, though, then very quickly... Oh, it's just English. It's just languages, actually, I think. Is that all that is? Yeah, it looks like it's just languages. Although we could... Just to double check that we're not missing anything there. Yeah, so it's just languages when it jumps and it's automatically defaulting to English. We can see that there. The other thing I would point out to a client is this is version enumeration. You don't want your server headers to return the version information, and that's what that is doing right there. So that would be like an informational that I would report to a client saying, hey, just not generally good practice. Don't think it's going to be exploited. It is a slightly older version, but that's just because Tiberius probably made the box. HPS request smuggling, you need other people to exploit with that. It's not going to be just a default, hey, here's a CVE, pop it, and you're done. We might be able to use the new 0-day, though. The Looney Tunes to get root. We'll try it once we get access, and then we'll try the regular way. But, okay. We are still stuck here. And I want to record kind of some of the things that we are trying, at least on this login screen. So let's make our to-do list here. We tried username enumeration. That did not work. We tried SQL injection with SQL map. That did not work. I want to try NoSQL injection. There's really not much else going on. It has to be something with this login screen, obviously. I'm trying to think of other injection attacks we might be able to do. It's not reflected. Like you could consider like server-side template injection, but it's not reflected. So when I type like admin, it doesn't say admin is the wrong username. The user input is not being reflected. So I don't think server-side template injection. If you guys have any other injection ideas, let me know. But we'll mark this off saying, hey, that didn't work. SQL injection with SQL map. That didn't work. So let's look into NoSQL injection. And I recognize that might be a new term. So let me see if we can find a good article that explains a NoSQL injection. Here we go, Imperva. We'll go with them. Because, hey, even if this isn't the way forward, we'll learn something, right? NoSQL injection is a security weakness in a web app that uses a NoSQL database. NoSQL, not only SQL, refers to database systems that use more flexible data formats and do not support structured query language. They typically store and manage data as key value pairs, documents, or data graphs. Think of like Python. Python isn't NoSQL, but that whole key value pairs. A NoSQL injection, similar to that of a SQL injection, can allow us to bypass authentication, blah, blah, exfiltrate sensitive data, tamper with data, or even compromise a database in the underlying server. Most NoSQL injection vulnerabilities occur because developers accept and process user input without properly sanitizing them. Can you stop giving me pop-ups? I would appreciate it. So if it's MongoDB, we might be able to perform some NoSQL injection. Is there like a NoSQL map? Someone had to have made that, right? I'm not the first person that has that idea. Yeah, I assumed. I've actually never used this tool, so I want to check this tool out. So this is an open source Python tool designed to audit for as well as automate injection attacks and exploit default config weaknesses. Originally authored and now maintained. It's named as a tribute to whoever that is. Yo, let's give it a shot, shall we? Do we just install like requirements and such? Okay, yeah. Python setup PyInstall. We'll just do that. I don't know what that is, Tech Maniac, but I'm not going to look at it if it's a spoiler. I don't want spoilers yet. Is it a spoiler? It's from Tiberius himself, so I have a feeling it might be a spoiler, and I don't want to be spoiled yet. Yeah, like I'm not trying to solve the machine fast or look at spoilers. If I get stuck, I'll look at it, but I know it'd be really easy to find spoilers or walkthroughs for this. Yeah, dude, I love Kato. Thought that's what it said to do. Although use install requirements. Python. Oh, set up PyInstall. I'm switching stuff around in my head. But yeah, if we get stuck, then we'll look at what Tiberius had to say. But would encourage you guys, if you're doing this alongside of me, try not to look at walkthroughs until we're fully stuck. If we still have more of our own ideas, let's do them, because even if it's a rabbit hole, like even if NoSQL is a rabbit hole, where we get to try out a new tool and we get to learn a new attack method. Even if it doesn't work on this machine, we're still learning. So that's still a win in my mind. Okay, so we have it installed. Can we just do... let's look at the usage. Uses a menu-based system for building attacks. Can I give it a post request? I don't know. Is it okay, maybe I'm not going to use this. Is it written in Python too? No, we installed the Python 3. It wouldn't be written in Python 2, you don't think? I don't think. This is, I might switch to my machine. I had an issue on my last stream where something would not work for the life of me in the attack box. I went to my own VM and it worked beautifully. But The way TryHackMe does this is every machine is solvable from the attack box. So if it doesn't work in the attack box, it's likely it's not needed. All right, without spoilers, do you guys have any ideas? Let's look at here, let's do NoSQL injection payloads, and we can automate it through Cato. That might be one thing we can try quick. We'll show Cato in action. So here's where Cato really, this is a small list. But if this is a much larger list, Burp Suite Community Edition rate limits the life out of you. You can't even do larger attacks, whereas Cato doesn't. So, good question, 8-Bit Oni. I'll answer it maybe in a couple of ways. Zap looks like 90s MySpace. I literally just don't like the UI. That's why I don't use Zap, for real. Burp Suite, I actually do use the Pro version at work. I do web app pen testing for work, and I used to use the Pro version when I would stream because I like all the features. I specifically like not being rate limited when I'm using Intruder on the Pro version, but I recognize I'm using the Pro version. Many people don't have access to the Pro version, so people couldn't follow along. So I was looking for an alternative and discovered Cato, and I ended up buying a Pro license to Cato because of some of the features it includes, and I wanted to support the developers. What really sold me on Cato is the first time I used Cato. It was on a TryHackMe machine, and I literally used it blind, had never used it before, used it on stream. One of the Cato developers joined the stream and was making requests to GitHub based on my feedback in real time, which I thought was really cool. And then Cato doesn't rate limit any of the automate stuff, even for the free license. It has ChatGPT built into it with the Pro license, and they're actively developing it, always adding new features, super responsive to the community. So I still don't use Cato for work, like my actual web app pen testing gigs. I use Burp Suite Pro, but when I'm streaming, I exclusively use Cato because I think it's a much more I don't know if affordable is the right word. It's affordable if you get the Pro version, but even with the free version, it's a lot more accessible of an on-ramp for people to learn some of these things, in my humble opinion. Overgrown Carrot said, so don't try to bypass login. Okay, so you're telling me maybe that's how you lock the box. Someone said I already had to restart the machine because of that. I wonder if you tried to bypass the login, something breaks, and then it says, lesson learned, as in, hey, you should learn your lesson. Don't try to do that. Okay. Don't try to bypass a login. Yeah, no, the free version is not limited on time. The free version you get almost all these features. The only thing you don't really get is Assistant here, which is just ChatGPT, but a little less restricted. So we can say, hello, can you help me create a reverse? Aww. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I would look more into this and try some of these before looking at a much bigger hint. All right, let me grab that. Yeah, you definitely don't need it. You can just use ChatGPT on a different window. Yeah, woke AI. So it looks like Overgrown Carrot is giving me the hint that this is SQL injection, but it must be a unique SQL injection because SQL Map did not find it. Actually, I'm curious about something with SQL Map. If I if I do something like that, we're just gonna let that thing run in the background while we read. You found a site that is apparently vulnerable just because the server is behaving weird, which it's really not, but we can test all of these, and you're going to laugh when you finally get it and be mad at the same time. Am I? Generally when I test SQL, I just do a quick check to see if things are working. But yo, let's let Kato shine, okay? We have all these payloads. I'm pretty sure we can get these all off GitHub, and we'll let Kato shine a little bit. So we'll do SQL injection, payloads, GitHub. I think payload all the things would be a good spot. Or payload box, apparently. Let's see how many we have here. Now, we don't know for sure what the platform is, but we'll do both of these. We'll do blind. Especially if it's a weird... Oh, we have both of them together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy some of these. We're going to make our own little injection sheet. If I open Sublime Text... No. Grab those. Grab these. Let's do intruder. If you need a hint beyond that, just let me know. It made me mad the first time I did it because it is a login page, but you're not bypassing login at all. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. 8-bit only. I just got my CUSA. I was thinking about looking for a sec job. Any advice? I'm currently a server admin. Well, server admin translates really well to tech stuff. So I would just say, like, hype up the skills you already have. Check that tweet. You get some info. Okay, let's see if I get completely stuck, and then I'll check some of that stuff out. I'm going to make my own little injection list with all these. Is this overgrown carrot? Is this like a really CTF-y type machine? It's the only thing I don't like. Like, some people enjoy them. I just personally don't. I like machines that are a lot more realistic. We're still going to do it. And so kudos to Tiberius for making it. Just usually isn't my cup of tea. Probably just because I'm bad at it, if I'm honest. You told me it's not a login bypass, so try some enumeration though. Just gonna make this master freaking list, and then I'll show you the not rate limiting stuff. Okay, if one of these payloads doesn't at least give me something interesting, I'll start looking at some type of more bigger spoiler. Okay, I'm going to go to Files, Browse, Home, SQL Injection.txt, upload that, and we have this. Does this still work? My login screen. Oh, no. I love it. Okay. Kudos to Tiberius for that. So it looks like we broke the machine. Not really broke it, but it says, oops, it looks like you injected a or 1 equals 1 or similar into the username field. This wouldn't have bypassed the login because every row in the user's table was returned, and the login checks only proceeds if one row matches the query. However, your injection also made it into a delete statement, and now the flag is gone, like completely gone. Like you need to reset the box to restore it. Sorry. Or 1 equals 1 is dangerous and should almost never be used for precisely this reason. Not even SQL map uses or unless you set risk 3. Which I did. Be better, be like SQL map. Lesson learned. P.S. Maybe there's a less destructive way to bypass the login. All right. Well, wait a minute. And now, like, that is frustrating. It is what it is. Freaking kind of stupid. But yeah, kudos to Tiberius. That's unique. I like it. Say generally, like in web app assessments, I almost never find SQL injection. I mean, most apps are sanitized to it. Sometimes you'll find it in very weird places. But even when I find SQL injection in the real world, I'm never trying to dump the database. I'm not even trying to bypass authentication because I'm not a red teamer, right? Pen testing and red teaming is different. For a pen test, I'm just demonstrating SQL injection is there. And if I can get the version information or even getting a sleep statement to work, like if I can show via SQL injection, I can get the database asleep for 15 seconds as opposed to a regular request. That's actually enough on a pen test to write it up as SQL injection. And so even when it comes to SQL injection, I don't have a whole lot of practice, even from my real job, because when I find it, I really am just trying to make the database sleep. And then I let the client know about that because I don't want to accidentally do this crap to their database. A red teaming would be different. A red team would be you're trying to get full access and be sneaky. A pen test, you're not trying to be sneaky and you're trying to get wide. So if I find SQL injection, I just want to do enough to confirm it so I can continue to enumerate the web app, not get stuck down in that rabbit hole. So just a little bit different between pen testing and red teaming type things. All right. So I guess my idea of using Cato to just like brute force this stuff is not going to be the way to do it, because all it's going to do is lock me out again. And so sudo nano etc host. Okay. Cool. We're back online now. Did not mean to do that. Meant to open it over here. Do we have access now? Are we back online? Invalid username or password. Okay. And so his hint is we know it's SQL injection, obviously, because of this error message. Our injection made it into a delete statement. So I wonder how it's processing that. Maybe there's a less destructive way to bypass the login. I mean, maybe there is, Tiberius. Let's try some of this entry point stuff. So it says like first nothing. So what if I do nothing? I still get a 200 and invalid username or password. Well, you know what? We can do this a little bit faster. Let's copy this stuff. And we're going to make a non-destructive SQL injection list. Is what I'm thinking. So all those things are non-destructive. We could try comments. That's not going to be destructive. Making it operate a logical operation having the expected results. For example, if the get parameter is username Peter, returns the same content as username equals Peter, or I don't want to use the or statement because he'll cry. He'll break. The machine will die. Oh, actually, I wanted that error message back up. Oh, I lost my error message. Oh well. He advocates for n 1 equals 1. Yeah, I know the mathematical operations, but we don't have, it doesn't return any information to us. Okay, let's look at this SQL injection list. Is there any ors? All ands, okay. I'd say all that stuff is safe. That page isn't loading, whatever. Identifying the back end, all of that should be safe to do. Port swigger. Extract database names, union select. Honestly, if it goes beyond this, I'm just looking at the walkthrough. We can't see error messages. Blind SQL. We have and there. Okay, we can try that. All right, this is a good starting point. I'm gonna save as safe injection.txt. We'll go to files and we're gonna add this file. And now if we go to replay, make sure our request is still there, good to go. Okay, beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and send this to automate. And here is automate. And we'll set it on the username field is what we're gonna mark. And we will use safe injection as our payload list. Attack strategy is all, settings, number of workers 10, that works for me. We could increase it and make it go faster, but for all I know, Tiberius will say, hey, don't attack my box that fast. You just caused a denial of service in a production environment, so we're not gonna do that. I could also turn intercept off at this point. And fingers crossed, we'll click start. You can see it's already done. So much better than the community edition of Burp Suite to do our 79 some requests. But if we sort it by length, they're all the same. Status, they're all the same. I think Overgrown Carrot's right. I'm going to be mad. Do we have round trip? Do we have anything? I mean, this round trip was 6, but that doesn't give too much. Do we have any super high numbers? We don't. The frick is the way in? SQL map doesn't find it. Is it somewhere else? Is it not in the login form? Did I miss something when I was doing like GoBuster? I don't think so. There's only the two things, manual and something else. Do I really just have to keep trying random injections until something works? Because none of my payloads worked. Okay. I give up. Let's see what I'm missing. I just want to look far enough till I'm no longer stuck, but I'm guessing as soon as I see it. The lesson to learn is not using OR. Yeah. And that's the image. I did too. Are you serious? That's all it is. All right, that's cool. I mean, so I guess the whole point of the box is just to teach don't use or. And I stopped right here. Guys, I stopped right here. I was like, okay, union select, cool. Let's try these first to see if we get anything. If I would have just kept going, I would have been done. Overgrown carrot, I see how that frustrated you. Oh no, that didn't work. Is it because it's not URL encoded? Here's the other thing that I can show you guys with Cato. Is you can do workflows. I haven't built anything on here, obviously, but this is where you can kind of encode stuff. It's kind of like Burp Suite's encoder type thing. So we can do encode, URL encode, pull that there, and we'll say, hey, we want you to execute to that. Whoops. Execute, and then convert end. Go there. And we'll save this as URL encode. Say workflow. And now if we go back to replay here, we can actually highlight this. URL encode it. Invalid username or password. What's the payload? What's the correct one? Oh, I forgot the extra dot. Extra dash, I mean. Oh, that's just invalid password, so that's interesting. But let me go ahead and that's what I forgot. That doesn't give me the flag. There's something weird with how I'm doing it. Guys, the frickin' what's going on? Aren't I using I can't even do the machine looking at a walkthrough. Oh, dude, over on care. I don't know if you were watching. I made an entire thing all the way up to that point, and I was like, well, let's try this before I do union injection, but I can't even solve the box. I can't even solve the box with the actual freaking walkthrough. Why can't I solve the box with the walkthrough? What the heck? How bad am I? What? What am I? Guys. Oh, you think it's copying in a weird way? Okay, let me just type it. Dude. Am I insane? That's a single comma. Guys. What is going on here? Someone get Tiberius into the chat. He's watched the stream before, and I want him to tell me why I can't even solve his machine watching freaking walkthroughs. Freaking A, what is going on? So silly. I don't even know if there's a point of posting this on YouTube. I feel like I wasted an hour of my life doing this. Maybe other people had this issue though, and I'll help them feel better. If this doesn't work, I'm just quitting. I'm not even going to copy and paste the flag from the walkthroughs. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of the flag. You're right. An hour of failure just means I found a bunch of ways not to do it. Although if this is just me, I would have fallen into such crazy rabbit holes when SQL Map didn't detect it. Why doesn't SQL Map work? I bet Tiberius has a video explaining all of this. I should go watch it because I'd be curious why SQL Map doesn't detect this. Anyone know why? Please let me know if you do. Guys, what witchcraft is going on? Yeah, it's a new error message, invalid password. But yo, I resetted the entire freaking box for this. And it still doesn't work? It's not my night. This makes no sense to me. Why is this not working? Someone tell me. Oh, they did it differently here. I mean, I guess similar context. Hold up. Why does this not work? Hold up. We're going to look at some of these now because I'm confused. What are the other payloads people used? Oh, look at this. Glad you solved the room using the attended path. There were a few people who skipped a stage. I've patched the room now. I see. So the union stuff is actually an unintended path. If you look at this. So you actually need to do username enumeration first. The whole union thing is an unintended path. The intended path is to do username enumeration and then use that user, which is why SQL Map, I suppose, didn't work properly. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this because I want to actually learn how this is supposed to be done. And so let's go to, do we have... That was a bad idea. I just got more respect for this box. When it was just like, hey, throw a union query at it and it solves it, I thought that was stupid. But the fact that you need to perform username enumeration and then SQL injection, I really like. And you guys actually heard me say, at least when you were here, as soon as you saw the login screen, I said the first thing I check is username enumeration. But I didn't have a valid user to really know. And so you're supposed to spray a list of users at it. Do we have some users here? Usernames. We would just want names, I think. Okay, those are a bunch of names. Let's try that, shall we? So if we go to Files, Browse, User, Share, Wordless, Secless. Nope, not Discovery. Usernames. Text. Okay. So the first thing I actually need to do is I never added this to my Etsy host. So let me just do that quick to make it a little bit easier. I will keep this on YouTube because this is actually quite fascinating now, how this attack was performed. And like, there's the flag and everything, but. Okay, here we go. So if we type in like Tyler here. Oh, shoot. I need to add it to Etsy host. Okay, there we go. All right, beautiful. So we got that. So now let's go ahead and send this to automate. And now on automate, we'll mark my name, Tyler. And we will use our names payload there. And we'll go ahead and click start. You guys see that? No rate limiting on Cato? Beautiful. Jeez, how many names are in that file? Make sure it's doing the request properly. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of names, eh? Yo, but the link's the same in all of them. Did I? Oh wait, no, it's not. Invalid password. Invalid pass. So we have a bunch of names here. So you guys see the different in length. The 1445 is invalid username and password. These are just invalid passwords. So we know these are all legit users because of the different error messages. So we know Veronica's legit. We know Stuart's legit. We know Sophia's legit. We know Patrick's legit. Naomi. See all these. Martin. Marcus. Kelly. Karen. Freaking Karen. And Arnold. Okay, so we know that all those are legit. So if I do like Veronica, because I didn't see any of the walkthroughs do Veronica. That works as well. Okay. Hats off, Tiberius. That was actually really, really cool when I saw the intended attack path of doing username enumeration and then SQL injection on top of that. That is really quite cool. Let's go ahead and grab our flag. Now I feel like I am worthy of the flag since I solved it the proper way, instead of just copying the flag and rage quitting. Submit. Boom. We solved the room. Good work, everybody. I've seen Cato coming up more on LinkedIn. Is it more preference? Kind of, and also cost. Cato's much more affordable, and the free edition doesn't rate limit you like Burp Suite Community Edition does. I still use Burp Suite Pro, though, for my day job. It's just when I'm doing CTFs, I like to use Cato. But hey, guys, we solved the box. Congratulations. Let's do another one. It's what, 10 o'clock? We got time for another one. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording for those of you on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for hanging out for my, about hour and 15 minutes of being very confused and then doing some cool username enumeration with Cato, and then finally solving the machine the proper way after performing username enumeration. Kudos to Tiberius. I was initially frustrated with the machine, and then I realized the path I was seeing was the unintended path. I really like the intended path. So good work, Tiberius. Really enjoyed it. Peace out to those of you on YouTube. See ya.